That was awesome. That was too much. It was over the top. All right, President Crow, members of the Board of Regents, faculty and guests, including many students and other fellow members of my research group from CC, thank you. There are countless people to thank for the successes along the way in my academic career, including my family, my close friends, many inspirational school teachers and mentors, many colleagues in the astronomy and planetary science community, and of course, all of you here in the room and watching online. But rather than spend my now less than 3 minutes expanding on all of those many thank yous, instead I'd like to spend the rest of my time telling you a story that describes how I'm feeling right now at this point in my career. When I was a little kid, my grandfather took me to a classical music concert at the church that he helped work in back in Providence, Rhode Island, and I must have been 7 or 8 years old. And I remember vividly the impressive architecture of the chapel and all the different musicians and their instruments, many of which I'd never seen before in person. But perhaps most vividly, I remember this well-dressed man standing on a little box in front of the musicians. And when the music started, he started waving a little stick around in the air. And no one seemed to be looking at him. They were all playing their parts of the music, but he still just kept there waving that stick around. I figured out that his name was at the top of the concert program in big letters above all the musicians and even above all the composer's name. It seemed ridiculously unfair, right? Who was this guy? Why does he get all the credit for just standing there waving a stick around when all the people in the orchestra are doing the real work? Well, afterwards, my grandfather tried to explain to me what a conductor was and that the stick was called a baton, but I wasn't having any of it. I was just indignant because of the injustice. Well, recently, with age, experience, and some might say wisdom, I have come to finally understand what that person with the little stick was doing and what role they really played in that long ago concert. I realized that every person with the stick actually knows something about what everyone in the orchestra is doing, and that they're even an expert in a few of those instruments. And I realized that the musicians do occasionally look at them, even if it's only just to check in on the big picture about where they are in the piece or how it's going or what's coming up next. And I realized that the person with the stick has actually spent hours, days, weeks, months, or more with this group, working with them, pushing through the projects together, answering questions, practicing, entertaining ideas for tweaks, mapping out the path to a great performance. And as a kid, I could never understand all the work that went in behind the scenes to be given the honor, the privilege of waving that little stick around. And that is what I am feeling at this point in my career. I've allied and surrounded myself with a team of amazingly diverse craftspeople, from students through seasoned professionals, plying their art, their skills, their music at the top of their game. They work here at ASU, they work at many other universities, companies, and government labs around the country and around the world. I am so grateful and so fortunate to be able to be the person who gets to wave the little stick around with my students, staff, colleagues, and friends. Together, we make a team, and only together can we make our music soar to the planets and beyond. Thank you again for this great honor.